Looks like we're up and running, so I thought I'd react to this live. Probably going to do a bit of a deep thing on Patreon with NME journalist Rick Martin, who, yeah, he actually voted in this back in the day. Did a recent episode with him about Arctic monkeys because he was like the first journalist to cover Arctic monkeys. So, yeah, let's have a bit of a deep dive, shall we, into this? Well, yeah, like I said, it'd be deep dive on Patreon, but let's have a look at it now. So yeah, top 50 albums of 2005, albums and tracks. I think there's, I've realised I said tracks because they don't want to say singles because I've realised they've included stuff that, so that way they can include songs that are not singles, really. I suppose that's quite self-explanatory, but it did come up in the Instagram comments when I posted on Instagram. But yeah, let's have a look. I mean, get from the front cover, it's quite striking in it. It's not, I don't know if it's my favourite cover, but definitely get a gist of the eclectic music from that year on the front cover. But let's not spend too much time on that. But certainly a range of different people. Then we've got Anthony Thornton's introduction here, friend of the pod. Well, he's been on the pod, so why not call him a friend of the pod? See what he has to say. Cast your mind back to 2000. Music was a poorly beast in need of either a good rocking or a good kicking. 2005, in contrast, had more riches than Jack White after his check from Coca-Cola. Over the past half decade, we've been blessed with scores of great rock and roll bands, but this was the year the maverick talents returned to tear the rulebook into confetti. It was the year lit up by Anthony and Sufjan, as much as it was by the Kaisers and Block Party, as electrified by Devandra and Dungeon, as by Maximo Park and the Cribs, as blown away by Arcade Fire, as by the Rakes. This wasn't even the biggest music story of 2005. After a decade of dire industry predictions that the internet would spell the death of all music, the web instead delivered the Arctic Monkeys, whose amazing swap demos built a buzz no record company could manufacture, resulting in a number one smash for their full debut single. Yeah, I guess wasn't killing the music industry at that point, was it? But 20 years on, a bit of a different story. I guess that's why I've chosen 2005 as well, because it is 20 years after the fact. It's nice, don't know, nice ring to it, isn't it? Makes it quite a nostalgic look back, I guess, at this point. What have we wanted to? At last, all the promises of the internet came true. If you're in a band, you don't need a massive marketing budget, just a MySpace account and a willingness to tore your socks off. I mean, I suppose that's the case now, isn't it? But yeah, like money's in touring, isn't it, right there? Oh, it's not in anything now, is it? Don't really know. Be interested to know actually which streaming service you listen to if it isn't Spotify, because feeling like I should change at this point. People saying we'll talk about this later. People have recommended one called something. If you get this right, um, I don't know what it is called. Maybe the wrong time to bring this up. Uh, Definitely cut this out at the end. But what's it called? There we go. It is called Qobuz. Qobuz. Buz? Buz. So might look into that in the year. Apparently, that's the best pay through for artists. So there you go. And yeah, but if we go back to this anyway. So, and having a few killer tunes usually helps too. The artists who laid the groundwork for this revival also thrived. Franz Ferdinand bounced back with their poppiest single yet, and an album that expanded their arc rock palette, while Pete Doherty bypassed his troubles to produce a Baby Shambles record which gets better with every listen. There was also room for quality comebacks from two of the old school. Madonna and Kate Bush returned with albums which respectively dazzled on the dance floor and smouldered in the garret, while Oasis produced their best record in almost a decade. That's an interesting take. What best record since What's the Story? Okay. Dance showed that it hadn't flatlined, with great albums by Vitalik and LCD Sound System, while Kanye West and MIA made sure that hip hop stayed fresh. Music, particularly British music, was magical again in 2005, and everyone from Camden to Caledonia was shouting about it. Here, over the next 12 pages, are more than 100 reasons why. Yeah, good introduction from Anthony there. So we'll click on if we can. Right, top 50 albums of the year. First, all starting with Test Icicles. Can't say, I mean, I feel I'm going to say this a lot tonight, but can't say I know much more than the singles from Test Icicles, even at this point. Um, but I know a lot of people are well into them. Obviously, Dev gone to be massive. We actually supported Dev at one point after this when he was in Lightspeed or doing Lightspeed Champion. Very nice bloke from what I remember at Adelphi in the hall. That's just, I'm probably mentioning that too many times on the pod. But yeah, number 50 for screening purposes only. The album in which three petulant kids from all over the world came together to create the most terrifyingly awesome DIY hardcore rap metal mashups since, well, ever. Okay, we'll argue with that. 49, Dead Meadow. I'll be lying, I've said I've heard of them before. Anyone in the comments heard of them? Fans of guitar solos were well served by the Washington DC Stoners, fourth album. Pretty much just one long meandering folk metal jam. It was nonetheless well crafted enough to captivate even those who don't like wah wah. Okie doke. Ladytron. Oh, all right, yeah, Ladytron at 48. Seeing that they're making a bit of a comeback. Potentially going to chat to him, I think, all being well. But yeah, again, probably only another singles. Third time lucky for Electro Sulky's bunch of smart haircuts. The icy pop charm and patchwork electronics met darkly humming guitars for the first time, and the result was captivating. Okie doke. Interesting artwork. Um, Again, this is one I haven't heard of. An artist I haven't heard of before, Sleater Kinney. The roughest, rawest, meatiest rock album of the year was supplied by three ex-Riot girls who ditched their previous penchant for catchy punk tunes in favour of beefing up the old Led Zeppelin records. Respect. Yeah, I'd have to listen to that. Might have been a good idea to listen to these, I suppose. Or better just react normally, innit? I can listen to them after this, maybe. Get back. The Duke Spirit. Definitely heard a good few songs from them. The sound of vintage, close to shambolic old school rock and roll through a Karen Earth filter. Shamefully overlooked. It's one that will grow over time. The Duke Spirit cuts across the land. Interested if anyone's a big fan of that in the comments. Shout Out Loud's recently talked about these with Felix White, the Maccabees. Said that the Maccabees and Shout Out Loud supported the Strokes in Brighton. Possibly other places as well. Definitely remember the name. I feel like they had a big single. Shall I Google that now? Shout Out Loud. What songs did they have? Impossible. I feel like I know at least one of their songs, I think. But I won't listen to it right now. So yeah, fair enough. What does it say? One single, all right, okay, one listen to the single very loud, and you'll know that this is the most instantly likable album of the year. Like Arcade Fire, jamming with the magic numbers in the Stockholm sugar refinery. Nice classic enemy metaphor there. Interesting stuff. Field Music, chatted about them recently as well with Jaff of the Future Heads. Big fans of them, and I think had a good career. Big Six music favourites, I think. Particularly like Laurent Laverne. When former Future Head Peter Brewis quit the art rock champs to concentrate on his own gorgeous pop songs, people scoffed. Few thought they'd hear of him again. Hear of him again. Oh, were they wrong? And so very, very silly. I can't. I don't know if I've listened to much of field music apart from maybe the odd tune I've heard on radio. Um, so yeah, maybe I need to have another blast on them. Engineers, people in the comments on Instagram were enjoying the fact that these are included. Uh, Self-titled album. Again, don't know much about it myself. Like a handcrafted platinum eagle monster, streaking the sky, crying ele elegiac, elegiac symphony. I don't know what that means. Elegiac symphonies to cathedrals, crushed flat by 1,000 years of Jesus Christ. That is not making much sense for me. Sigur Ross, definitely, definitely ahead of these. Definitely. Listen to this album back in the day. I remember my mate said he used to listen to it to go to sleep, which I don't know if it's a good testament to the album or not, but definitely different. Put it that way. Not your average guitar band of the 2000s, were they? Icelandic band. Iceland's premier post-rockers return this year to find themselves being clumsily name dropped by hipper-than-thou A-listers the world over. But the bewildering quality of tack ensured that they won't be needing any celeb leg ups. All right, one of those ones that Hollywood celebs like to name drop, is it? Bit like Geese now or something. Or I feel like Geese is one. Got Demented Melvin in the comments, 2005. I remember testicles from that year. Yeah, they're number 50, mate. Um, so yeah, on Domino Records. Might have to listen to that through. Might have to do like some kind of series where I listen to some of these albums. But it's just like, yeah. Yeah, seeing if I can do that for YouTube, that might be a good idea. Nine Black Alps, definitely a fan of some of their music back in the day. Our band covered one of their songs, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but it will be on this album. Definitely remember Shot Down. That was a different song. We didn't cover that one, but I remember Zane Lowe playing that a lot at the time. Really good song. Definitely like a grunge influence to them. I think they were Yorkshire band, Leeds band, possibly. I know they were mates with the Cribs and stuff. Sorry, it says here the Mancunian. Apologies. Despite being Mancunian and 15 years too late, Nine Black Alps distilled the teen spirit of Seattle grunge into their angsty mosh pit friendly debut. Short and sweet then, but fair enough. Breaks. Remember the name, but don't remember much about them, was it, say? Finding out that the drum bashing cameo dude from British Sea Power could write genius, askew pop gems of his own was an illuminating discovery in itself. But that he had the seemingly borrowed Frank Black's larynx to sing them baffled and thrilled us further. I guess he was in British Sea Power, was he? Okay, doke. Vitalik. Can't say I've heard of these before. Frenchman Pascal Arbez, aka Vitalik, made the year's most significant dance album, a sharp-edged and glamorous beast with rock and roll dynamics and pop sensibility. Check out single My Friend Dario for proof, giving it an appeal ranging far beyond the techno scene which spawned it. Okay. Autolux definitely had this name before. Probably Future Perfect. That's very similar to. Definitely had that name before as well, the album then. From out of nowhere, or LA as it's sometimes known, came two blokes and a kick botty female drummer who are collectively alone in making the long outdated sounds of shoegazing relevant to the 21st century. Okay, dark. Should I have a look at these? One of the little side pieces here. Previous albums of the year. Set in 89, De La Soul. Not familiar with that. Happy Mondays. Familiar with that one. Uncle used to play that a lot to me in the car. Never mind, obviously. Sugar, Copper Blue. Don't know that. Bjork, okay. Oasis, Tricky. Not familiar with that. Beck, Spiritualized. Mercury, Rev. Flaming Lips. Quite of left field choices here. Don't know. Maybe not to the trained ear. Queens of the Stone Age, Strokes, Coldplay, White Stripes, Franz Ferdinand. Yeah, I'm currently doing The Legend of Landfill series they do on Patreon, currently looking at 2002 top 10. About to do Coldplay tomorrow, actually. So see what we make of that. But Coldplay top of the pops on that one's interesting in the year of when indie was reborn with the Strokes. So I think the Vines finished second to him, and a few of I think the Streets were behind him as well. Well, they were because we just done it in the top 10. So yeah, listen to that tomorrow. Down to three, down to 37. Circulus, the lick on the tip of an envelope yet to be sent. Can't say I've heard of Circulus. Someone wants to enlighten me in the comments. Um, Medieval Prog Circulus, first album of their 10-year career, was by turns beautiful, fair, and silly, but never ever boring. Okie doke. And you got The Bravery, classic of the genre. Wholeheartedly throwing off their ska origins, the New York five-piece rode on in an infectious dose of new wave electro indie that proved there was more to the Bravery than just riffs, quiffs, and interband tiffs. That is lovely stuff. Nice, nicely packaged there by whoever wrote that. Probably Anthony Thornton, maybe, I don't know. You got a picture in there. Bravey album was quite good, says Demented Melvin in the comments. Yeah, I always thought they got unfairly labelled as like a one-hit wonder. I think definitely had at least two good songs. Honest Mistake and Unconditional. And yeah, like you say, I think some people definitely really liked him, especially friend of the pod, James Allen. He's come on to talk about him. Big fan. So yeah, they're in number 36, number 35, Elbow. Never really got into Elbow. I really like Grounds for Divorce single, like the basic guy I am, but I've never really got into an album or anything, I don't think. But let's see what it says. Third album from the Northern Five Piece about going back to Manchester. With hearts cracking and pint glasses smashing, Guy Garvey's surreal stories of an everyman's trundle through town are touching, evocative, pop prog bungled up in a heart. Okie dokie. Take the word for it, I reckon. Rufus Wainwright. Again, don't know much about him. I imagine he's very Radio 6 friendly, though. Rufus' desperate desire for a hit saw him dashing to Parkinson on Radio 2, which is a shame, because beyond the Velvet Jacket, Want 2 had enough raw-edged emotion and stupendous songwriting to enchant all but the most ragged-arsed indie kid. Okay, okay. Bit of a musical family out there. Got like musical. I think the parents were musicians or something. Probably should not share my lack of knowledge there, but I think they're yeah came from a line of well-known musicians. I think. And down to 32 with Queens of the Stone Age. We're missing 33 here. 33 nearly missed We Are Scientists. Nightmare. We Are Scientists with Love and Squalor. Great album. Went to see him play it live recently in Manchester. The sound of the big American rock anthems given a jerky East London art rock injection. And what's more, it was made by the funniest fuckers in rock and roll. Yes. Yeah, it is that album. Especially like got some of my I think Cat Loose is one of my favourite songs from that era. It's a bit of a bold statement, but just really like it. I think the fact it wasn't a single, I don't think as well. So it never really got like overplayed, but some of their songs are like proper like staples of indie nights out. Really loved them at the time and do now. Come to appreciate them probably more now, if anything. So, Queens of the Stone Age, 32. Doing exactly what it says on the tin. This saw the heavyweights of sludge rock return to shoot 10,000 volts of pure sonic aggression at the horn hand masses. Okay. Lullabies to Paradise, what's that got on it? Should we Google that? I should know that really. But you know, they've got a lot of albums, haven't they? But that era, was that like 2005? What they don't have on it. In My Head, great song. Little Sister. So it's that era, yeah. And Burn the Witch, good. Yep. Maybe thought I'd be higher, to be fair. Pretty Monumental stuff. Bright Eyes, yeah. Melvin in the comments has got on that. So Bright Eyes at 31, filled with nightmares of alienation. This was a comforting hymn for those struggling with modern living. Yet Bright Eyes acoustic, Yet Bright Eyes acoustic album possesses a warm, beating heart that says it's okay to feel alone, reassuringly life affirming. Uh, First day of my life. That is all I know. I think by Bright Eyes. To be honest, if I'm being completely transparent, I know a couple of mates are banging into him, particularly the fella. Didn't he do acoustic as well? Oh, sorry, he went solo, the fella. So yeah, kind of take the word for it, but I know they've got a lot of big fans. Um, got a bit of an emo vibe in it. Then you got Doves, small town, Enuan rain soaked northern claustrophobia translated into roaring big screen epics, a record to restore your faith in big themes and great crafted British songwriting. That's definitely Black and White Town era in it. Let's have a look. Yeah, Black and White Town. Is it that Pound? Is that Pound? A Pound in before that. So yeah, did very at least one big single that I know of there. So fair enough. 29 Madonna. Throw Madonna in the mix. A record that makes Scissor Sisters look like Jet. I don't know what that means really. Is it saying it's like massively poppy kind of thing? I don't know. This is the sound of the most famous woman in the world reverting to default and doing what she does best. I'm gonna say that again because that wasn't right, was it? This is this is the sound of the most famous woman in the world reverting to default and doing what she knows best. Yes, that good. I did like Madonna in the 2000s, to be fair. She had well, I've always liked her quite a lot of her songs really. Um, but I'm trying to think what was on this one. That was that the ABBA sample that she did. Hung Up, was it? Yeah. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, Hung Up. Can't sing it anymore off that album. That seems quite high to me, but we'll go with NME. Absentee, cats have heard of them before, to be honest. I don't think. Songs about killing your wife, piss sex, and a yearning. Breathless lollop through You're the One That I Want from the Grease soundtrack. This year, the Magic Numbers Grumbly Mates articulated the eclectic sound of melancholy better than anyone. I'm quite into melancholy, so I'll give that a listen. But Donkey Stock, the title of the album as well. Interesting stuff. 27 Kate Bush, so along with Madonna, an icon, uh, an icon of the pop world. If you want to call Kate Bush pop, I don't know. At 27 with Ariel, worth waiting 12 years for? Why, yes. The original Spectre, Amos, Newsom, Futurehead. Bush is exactly as we left her, operatic and odd. Earth Mother and artist. Ariel sees Kate Bush return as a washerwoman. A spectacular comeback. Well, it's quite high praise there for Bush. Again, can't say I've ever got into her, but apart from the singles, probably one to get into. I mean, I like the way how she's conducted herself in terms of being quite clandestine, if that's the right word. Like doing zero press. I always think it's interesting when people do that. Creates like, I don't know, I think it's quite positive in terms of the effect it has on the art itself. Makes it a bit more special, if you like. I don't know if that's a bit pompous of me to say. Pompous, what's the other word I'm thinking of there? The word with P. But 26 Super Furry Animals. I only really know singles again from these. The Welsh Wonders' seventh studio album was the most summary record of the year, probably because it was recorded in Catalonia and mixed in Rio, and is still warming our hearts 6 months later. Lovely bit of imagery there. Is that, see what's on that album out of interest? Is it Rings Around the World era? Super furry animals. Lovecraft. No, it doesn't look like I couldn't name any. Don't recognize any songs on that album. I don't think. But any Super Animals fans in the comments, correct me on that, please. Down to 25. Is that right? Yeah. MIA with MIA self-titled album. See what's on this. See if there's any songs I can place because I don't know if this was this. Let's have a look. Not smooth on the old searching on this one. This wasn't the year of that massive single shed, was it? Or was it? Uh, this is not going well. MIA album. Wow, Ariula. It's given a different name on the internet. It's called Arula. Uh, debut single. Bucky Dungan. If this is the same album, I remember that song. That was interesting. Which is definitely interesting at this point from what I remember. And then was it later on she had 2007 she had a main single. Oh, Paper Planes was on the next album. Okay. Fair enough. A genre-straddling debut of mind-boggling squatchy disco rap from the Sri Lankan Lady Sov. It may have narrowly missed out on the Mercury Prize, but it could be heard everywhere from housing estates to country estates. Okay. Then you got Oasis 24. NME calling this the best album since Morning Glory. So what was that dismissed? Be Here Now. Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. Any more? Don't know. The last three albums were like the Queen's Christmas speech. No one enjoyed them, but we still gathered round anyway. However, with Don't Believe the Truth, we were suddenly back into the prime time. We were suddenly back into prime time as Oasis snarled again with Gonzo Rock and Roll Rage. Let's have a look. Is this like Lila is in it? 2005. I actually quite like some of this. Um, some of this album, I think. I like Turn Up the Sun was in terms of live performances, quite an interesting era. I actually saw him this year at V Festival. Um, yeah, Turn Up the Sun, Mucky Fingers, Ports and Being Idle, Let There Be Love. I mean, personally, I wouldn't say it's particularly better than I don't know really. But Be Here Now, I like do like some of the songs off that, and even Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. What was the one in between that then? Are we going to look into that? Where's this album? Should we have a look at that? Ooh, have a look at the cough. So you got familiar? Wait, here, you got Be Here Now. Heathen Chemistry, Standing on Shoulders of Giants, and Heathen Chemistry. They all had decent songs on, didn't they? The Hindu Times was good. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if I'd agree with Enemy's take on it being the best since Morning Glory, but there we go. Hard Fight 23. Got Mark Beaumont batting for them at the NME, I think. I'm sure other people did as well. And they definitely made an impact of sorts, didn't they? So greater than the Asper. I hate all this. When I read the album review by Mark Beaumont, like constantly referring to Asper's and stuff, just like a bit. I don't know, was Asper's a big thing at the time? Or they just come in or something? It's like if a band's remotely working class, they'd talk about Asper's loads. Don't really understand it. Like trying to sound as if they knew what working class people were up to. Anyway, Asper anthems. That's just terrible, isn't it? Hard Five, Stunning. Move On Now, in particular, picked up where the Clash and Blair left off to paint an insightful portrait of modern British life. That's got to be Beaumont writing that, I reckon. Very high praise, obviously, comparing to the Clash and Blair. but fair enough. The Ravenettes, definitely remember the name. Do I remember any songs is a different question. I'm not sure. Broadening the Dane's sound from monochrome to glorious widescreen. Pretty in Black saw Sharon and Soon loosen their discipline and shoot straight from the hip. The result was a sugar-coated but nonetheless vicious walk on the wild side. Okie doke. LCD sound system. Now, I know people absolutely love them, but I struggle to get into them, if I'm being completely honest. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, like the singles, kind of definitely dance to them on nights out. The Daft Punk is playing in my house, etc. But they just don't. I've tried them a bit, but they don't speak to me like they speak to other people, really. I think maybe the vocal style I struggle with a bit. It's not really for me. But anyway, I'll read it. Not only did James Murphy save dance music, Police, but he did it whilst wearing Salvation Army chic and having an ever-present covering of ginger stubble. It's a Brooklyn thing. It's a Brooklyn thing, apparently. Okay. Editors, probably a bit of slightly forgotten band from back in the day, weren't they? But definitely had some good singles at this point, especially. I mean, this album, it's one of those, and I think when Nick Hodgson was on the pod, he talked about the fact that people would buy albums in supermarkets. This is one of them, I reckon. It's kind of quite a recognizable cover from back in the day, in it. Got Munich and what's the other one? Munich and Bullets. Uh, quite. Yeah, I'd listen. I would never like probably choose to listen to them, but if they came on the radio, I'd definitely listen to it if that makes sense. I don't know. Welcome to the New Lords of Dark. Not about sure about that. Tom and Co remade their moribund heroes. Let's say this again. Tom and Co remade their moribund heroes, including Joy Division, Echo, and the Bunnymen, into something much bigger, more emotional and transcendently epic. I mean, I think Interpol just did a better job of what they were doing, didn't they? Really, you'd have to say. Like I said, they had some good songs, but I don't think they really kind of nailed it as NME is trying to make out here. Coldplay X and Y. Don't remember. Was that Fix You? Nah. What was on this album? Cold. You can tell they're not in favour at this point, though, really. Like they once were with NME. If they're getting down, it's the Fix You era. Okay, 2005. And what else is on there? Speed of Sound. Okay. Yeah, massively. It's just very Coldplay in it. Uh, the Kraftwerk-inspired globe-straddling third album from Coldplay, who touched the hearts of thousands at Glastonbury again, and are almost turning into U2. The fact that X and Y topped the charts in 21 countries and Fix You, tremendous. Okay. Art Brut, here we go. Bang Bang Rock and Roll. Or the triumph of the underdog. Some thought a band so brilliantly idiosyncratic and smart couldn't succeed. Not only did they triumph, they won over doubters everywhere. This is the sound of inspiration and reveling in being different. Yeah, that's definitely a good way of summing it up, I think. I mean, I'd be lying if I was like banging to it at the time, but it's one that's really stood the test of time, I think. I think lyrically, it's, yeah, it's pretty brilliant. Up there with like, then I'd like them and the Rakes kind of fall together for me in terms of like their self-awareness, etc. In terms of lyrics. Um, Definitely want to go back to. Looking forward to seeing them in the new year, all being well, supporting Maximo Park, who are coming up in a minute. Magic Numbers, another one there, another supermarket album, let's call them. Definitely owned by a lot of parents out there. I remember my mate's parents having the album. Um, what does it say? Their country rocking debut from embraceable hippie siblings, which finally nails their triumphant live shows to record, rendering beards and knitwear the only must-have items of any season. Yeah, they were pretty big, to be fair. Definitely. I mean, they're on the cover of NME during 2005, I think. So that tells you everything, I suppose. But they're definitely like Radio 2 friendly, weren't they, as well? Like a few of these bands, like editors, you'd say, are quite Radio 2 friendly. British Sea Power at 16. And I know the name, obviously, but can't think of many songs. As exciting as their debut was, its flair was blighted by the Brighton band's jolting, jarring eclecticism. It was a problem rectified on their second effort, and rarely in 2005 did the unison of poetry, guitars, and their foliage sound so dashing. Okay. Maximo Park, definitely. Is it a supermarket album? Probably, isn't it? Slightly edgier than the Magic Number, obviously, but definitely another like memorable cover from that time. Sound the timeless British eccentrics alarm, stuffed from arse to beak with rollicking art pop clang and lyrics delivered with a broad Geordie twang. A certain trigger was an immediate classic. Definitely some great songs on there. Um, Graffiti will always be my favourite, I think. Maximo Park song. So yeah, respect, big up there. Down to 14, Dungan. As I said before, I'm not sure about this band, or if I've heard of them before. These tie-dyed Swedish hippies might not exactly have set the charts alight with their second album, but people will still be listening to this masterpiece of modern psychedelia when James Blunt is a is a cabbie. Well, it's a pretty poor prediction. He's fucking loaded, ain't he, James Blunt? The Rakes, I mean, yeah, just brilliant. Glad to see they're in there, quite pretty high. The Rakes are proof that an art rock geek gang. The Rakes are proof that art rock geek gangs in 2005 can be deeply funny. This infectious debut includes Dry Tales of Nights Out, Bad Shags, and Computer Love, delivered from the back of a Weatherspoons pub. Unmissable. Yeah, I mean, again, quite well summed up there. Definitely the humour element. Um, yeah, I might even listen to that over Christmas when I'm driving around. Um, this is a brilliant album. Probably, I mean, it's easy to say, in it? Like, when we get to number one, I'll have to like think about what I would have said was number one at the time. Like looking back now, I would probably put the Rakes like one, like and the Cribs up there as well. Um, to be fair, the Cribs would have been up there for me at the time as well. But anyway, we'll crack on till we get there. Devendra Banhart at 12 and never got into this guy. Uh, can't ever remember listening to them. Sorry, what's the Demented Melvin saying? He's talking about the Rakes. The Rakes album was great. Third Rakes album is their best. Okay. Slightly controversial there. Or bit of a left field take, maybe, but definitely all great albums from the Rakes. Uh, so Devendra Banhart. This was Devendra's White Album, a sprawling masterpiece studied with R&B gems. I feel just like a child, an infectious vibe of profound, innocent happiness. Only the Fabs never had songs in Spanish or about fisting fish. Their loss. Okie doke. I'm not going to try and write that one out. It's down to the Cribs at 11. New Fellas. The second album from the ramshackle Wakefield Bros was the sound of your Friday night, lashed and lewd down the indie disco. In the in the Cribs, 2005 found a band who would bleed for your right to have some rock and roll fun. Quite literally, in fact. Yeah, again, well written there. Sums up the raw and real nature of the Cribs, and yeah, just absolute staples of club nights on that album. Some great memories. Compilations of the year. A Day in the Life. Was that when but like different bands recorded songs by the Beatles? Possibly. Is that when Libertines did Day in the Life? Could be lying there. Or like they did it separately, like, but various artists, anything interesting there? Not particularly. Uh, Curtain Call was a compilation by Eminem, was it? Like a best of or something. Anyway, down to the top 10. Gorillas. Demon Days. What? How many? What? Which album was this of theirs? Was this like the second album? Gorillaz albums. Yeah, it's the second album, it looks like. A bunch of greedy shareholders betting their chips on its ka-ching factor. A cast of thousands headlined by washed-up stars of yore, Shaun Ryder, De La Soul, Nina Cherry. A novelty idea that was speeding headlong into its inevitable conclusion. Gorillaz' second album should have been an epic failure. It said it was the mainstream's darkest, most dangerous, downright weirdest album of the year. What we got on this then? There, Harry Feelgood Inc. Some huge songs on it, yeah. There. Yeah, I mean, massive. My uncle's got a massive Gorillaz tattoo on his back. I've asked him a few times to send a picture of it, but don't know. All a bit odd. And he got Baby Shambles in at 9. Obviously, a classic of the genre, quite topical at the minute. And they've re-released it. Um, I suppose a few of these albums have been re-released in recent times. With it being 20 years, a record seemingly designed to split fans and critics down the middle, and in doing so, first opened up the first true music generation gap since Acid House. That's quite interesting, isn't it? I suppose they do mark a bit of a generation gap, like the Libertines and Baby Shambles, in a way. It's like I don't know. I only say that because I think my dad would object to anything Pete Doherty related. Whereas he liked the Strokes, so I don't know. But it was the songs from Albion, a touching hymn to Englishness, to fuck forever's riot of guitars that'll make sure that this is an album they'll be listened to in a decade. Well, yeah, 2 decades down the line, people listen to it again, aren't they? I mean, it's not. You got to say it's not the best recorded album. Definitely prefer the singles before that came before with Paul Epworth, but it definitely like records like at that time, and it records that time. Kind of represents that time of Baby Shambles. It was a bit shambolic, believe it or not. So yeah, interesting stuff. And I was watching Pete Doherty talk about the cover actually. He because I think they got like a few hundred unreleased albums from Rough Trade to sell recently that didn't have a cover, and he was like, man, he was like basically drawing the cover on by hand on these unreleased records because he said he came up with it last minute. Basically, it got to like the final hour where they needed the artwork for the album, so he just like wrote. He just did that Baby Shambles B. In fact, he got like an old record. So he got another record from someone else, turned it inside out, and then just basically wrote Baby Shambles down in Albion and put the little logo in the corner. So yeah, bit of info for you there if you didn't see that on Instagram. Down to number 8, Kanye West. Their registration. I remember this being big at the time. People I worked with in the bar were like loving it. Um, is that Jesus Walks era? Is that I like Jesus Walks by Kanye West around that time. I'm not sure. I think that was before maybe. Late registration. Gold Digger. That got so old so quickly to me, that song. Used to be one of those songs you'd hear on a night out. Maybe it was the remix. Who did the remix? But it's like, oh God, when I used to come on a night out, like right straight to the bar for that one. Or the toilet. So yeah, maybe not for me, but it says acclaimed by Franz Ferdinand and a thorn in George Bush's side. Kanye West's late registration is compelling mix of intelligent rhymes, studio wizardry, and tough tunes. It don't matter how big your chain is or who you call her, West has proved the sharp mind is the rap accessory that matters. Okay. The documentary about him is interesting, I have to say. Swift John Stevens at 7. The fact on air this guy is not a great reflection on my knowledge if he's in at 7, but there we go. 22 tracks of xylophones, pocket symphonies, and songs about serial killers, in which the sheer jaw dropping scale of Sufjan Stevens' ambition was exposed. This was a second installment of a plan to write an album for every state in America. Uh, But even if he doesn't complete the next 48, Illinois will be a triumph. Illinois, rather, will be a triumph. Okie dokie. White Stripes, interesting picture. Yeah, this was much like kind of anticipated at the time, wasn't it? After the album after Elephant, basically. Was much invested myself and enjoyed it. Like something kind of lost something after Elephant, I think, a little bit, but it's hard to maintain that kind of, I don't know, interest, I guess. That kind of interesting art, I suppose. They kind of lost a bit of an edge at this point, but still has some good songs on it. On which, on which Jack ditches the guitars and tinkers with pianos and marimbas. I think that's what I mean, actually. It became a bit different for that reason. For a mere 2 weeks, there's still a talented bastard manages to pull another masterpiece out of his ass. Oh dear, that is very blunt writing. Funny. A darker and at times funkier melange of country and blues rock than he gives us before, but still as jaw-droppingly eccentrically brilliant. Eccentrically brilliant. I'm going to stick with that. Yeah, fair enough. I'll probably need to listen to that album again, to be fair, but it's not one I've revisited loads. Employment by Kaiser Chiefs. They predicted a riot. Um, they predicted a riot, and 9 months later, it's still burning brighter than cars in Paris. In a year when all around them was angular and jerky, the Chiefs became huge with 12 good old-fashioned anthemic indie rock songs that made up their debut album and filled dance floors at indie clubs everywhere. They could well be the new Blair. Stephen Street produced Employment, but while Ricky Wilson pogoed around like a younger, slightly plumper Damon Albarn. Jeez. Chief, Chief, Nick Hodgson quietly became the coolest drummer since the Beach Boys' Dennis Wilson. A pretty good album, we tell thee. Yeah, I mean, again, one of the buyers on admission supermarket album. Uh, Not that that's a bad thing. I guess if you're selling loads of albums, then it's all good, isn't it? But then that kind of iconic, memorable cover from the era. And not an album I revisit much myself. Kind of, I like Kaiser Chief when I first heard them, I think. But then they did the whole re-release of Predict Riot and all became a bit overplayed pretty quickly. But definitely some good songs on there. Quite like, yeah, quite like a few of them. Still listen to a few of them today, now and again. But I don't, like I said, I don't revisit the album as such, if you like. Anthony and the Johnsons at 4, I'm a Bird now. Should have a look at the songs on this. And the Johnsons. Let's have a look at some on this. Not as easy to Google, unfortunately. I mean, I only really know. I hope there's someone, that's it, yeah. I hope there's someone's on this one, which is a great song. Reminds me of listening to it on Zane Lowe on my alarm radio. Alarm radio clock. Radio alarm clock, if you like. Maybe a better way of saying it. But yeah, see what they say. One of the oddest and therefore most welcome success stories of 2005. Anthony Hegarty has such a uniquely beautiful voice that he made the album's guests, Lou Reed, Devendra Banhart, and Boy George among them. Sound less like big names and more like thrilled converts like the rest of us then. Wow, Lou Reed was on it. Didn't know that. Let's give that a blast. Down to the top 3. Franz Ferdinand, you could have done it. You could have, you could have it so much better. Let's see what's on this one. Is that the Do You Wanna era? Um, can't say I was ever massively into Franz Ferdinand, but yeah, it's the Do You Wanna era. Don't know anything else off it though, to be honest. What does it say? When you sculptured this the schizoid boundary pushing art rock monolith of a sound that everyone and their sharply haircutted cousin has copied, where do you go next? You make an album that encompasses epic balladry. Walk Away, Cheshire Grinning Psychedelia, Eleanor Put Your Boots On, and the best song you've ever written, The Fallen, Easy When You Know How. Maybe I've heard more of the songs, I don't know. I mean, they're obviously a great band, great at what they do. I remember going to see the Cribs at Brudenell in 2007, and Franz Ferdinand kind of a secret support act. So it was cool to see him there for sure. Just, I don't know really, just doesn't massively resonate with me, I suppose. Uh, although the beginning of Take Me Out gets me going. It's a great start to any song. Arcade Fire at two. So this is where there's a bit of a thing. So Arcade Fire at two, Block Party at one. Don't know if I read all this out if I'm honest, but I just remember there being a thing. And when I spoke to Matt Tong, he um, he said the shine was taken off because they heard that Arcade Fire was supposed to be number one, but then someone at the last minute said, "Oh no, we need to pick someone British." But then talking to Anthony Thornton, who obviously put this together, he said that was not true. That in fact an advertiser pushed for an early copy of the list, and because not everyone had casted the votes, not everyone had cast the votes. At that point, Arcade Fire were number one. So it leaked that Arcade Fire were the best album, but when all the votes were in after that, it was Block Party. So yeah, and Conor McNicholas confirmed that. He said, yeah, some unwelcome person decided to leak it. So yeah, so it's a shame that Block Party feel like that if they do, because it's definitely obviously more than worthy of the number one spot. Or is it? Get in the comments and you can debate that. But I mean, it's hard to say it doesn't deserve to be number one. Obviously, Arcade Fire was great as well. That album was massive. But should we read it? If Franz Ferdinand are the boys at the front of the class raising their hands to show off their swatting silent alarm, sorry, show off their swatting. Silent alarm show block party of the kids. Should we start that again? If Franz Ferdinand are the boys at the front of the class raising their hands to show off their swatting, silent alarm show block party of the kids in the back row who know all the answers but aren't so bothered about parading their knowledge. Their album was all those things British guitar bands' debut albums usually forget to be. Confident in stance, wide in range, global in outlook, and brimming with ambition and ideas. Kelly and the boys canter from relationships caught in a single line, such as I still feel you and the taste of cigarettes, to predicting the likely crumbling of civil society in the face of rising fuel costs on price of gasoline, sounding ever more like soundtrack to a riot to come. While some songwriters struggle to capture the spirit of Blair's Britain in its post-imperial phase by dusting down homely imagery decades out of date, Block Party's take on the nation has a panicky, urgent undercurrent that feels spot on. All this and the 21st century Joy Division sound had enough going on to support a remix album, reserving the songs totally, unrecognisably rewired. It's always a quiet one. Nearly. It's always the quiet ones, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it's just I think it's an album that's aged really well, isn't it? You have to say. What does Kelly have to say? It was a shock. It was the last thing we thought was going to happen, but it's completely pleasant surprise. Obviously, I'm proud of Silent Alarm as a record, and I think it must have touched people. I always had this idea in my head that I wanted the songs to sound a lot bigger on record. I wasn't so happy with the idea of just going in and recording a live album. It had to be a different sort of sound. I remember at the beginning not being sure how it was going to sound, but by the end of the month realizing we'd done ourselves proud. We said if it doesn't get at least an 8 in NME, we're going to be very upset. I still listen to it now and again to see what sort of effect it has on me down a year down the line. Some songs on there that I'm really proud of. And with the next record, we're looking to explore those ideas more fully. It was meant to just be the beginning. There's no real overview. It was a snapshot of the way we were thinking. We know that we have better albums in us. Okay. Wonder what it did get. Can we look at the review now? I reckon it must have got. It must be like a 9. Oh, I was looking today because Arctic Monkeys got a 10 for their debut album. Let's have a look. Who's reviewing it? Doki Doki. I don't know. Imran Ahmed reviewed it, but it's not actually said. It doesn't have the star rating, annoyingly. But it's got to be. I need to find out now, don't it? I'm sure it'll be on Wikipedia. Uh, this is nice interlude. Sound alarm. Any idea? Reception. Here we go. NME 9 out of 10. So that was worth it in the end. I didn't get the elusive 10, but he got more than 8 that was Kelly was looking for. Anyway. Chew. Pete in the comments. Saw Testicle supporting good shoes. But that was this. Tracks of the year. I mean, yeah, just if we, I don't know if I can't think of any emissions from 2005 of the complete. Oh, apart from the Paddingtons, I would have put the Paddingtons in there somewhere. Not only because they're from Hull, etc., like I am, but for me they would have been better than some of these albums I've never even heard of. Uh, a bit of a sweeping statement there, but yeah, if you can think of any bands or albums that didn't make it in there, get in the comments. Tracks of the year. Start with Fix You from the 50. You'll try and get through these a bit faster, I guess. I mean, what can you say about Fix You? Pant wetting blood muffins. That's an interesting term. Loop and Crook. Don't know much about him, to be honest. Lucky Six. Definitely remember that. That was on an NME compilation, though. For sure. I remember that. Great Escape, We Are Scientists. Banger. 100%. Oh my God. My Kaiser Chiefs. I mean, yeah, I guess it was a big song at the time. Got sick of it fairly quickly myself. But there we go. Freaking Out by Graham Coxon. Great song. Still stands the test of time, that. It's pretty yes. Missy Elliott, Lose Control. I'm not sure I know that song off the top of my head. Ravenettes, Loving a Trash Can. Not familiar with that. Feel Music. It's the not only way to feel happy. Not sure, to be honest. Feel Good Inc. Yeah, obviously a big song at the time. Pretty cool song. Zoo Time by Mystery Jets. Decent, but not. I don't think it's the best song, is it? I hope they'll probably have more songs, and You Can't Fool Me, Dennis must be higher than that. But really interesting band. Hopefully, you speak to them on the pod in the near future. Vitalik, who was discussed earlier. My friend Dario, not sure. Hung Up by Madonna, good song. Love and Pain by Claw, absolute nailed on banger. Been mentioned quite. That's interesting artwork as well, isn't it? Love to speak to them on the pod because that is a great song. The Rake Strasberg, yeah, yes. What does it say about it? Fantastically spiky and verbose art punk that was prone to an erupting into blasts of veins, a popping rage with the chaps getting inordinately unhappy about a former Roman military outpost in France. Yes, indeed. Hey man, now you're really living by eels. Must have heard that before, I think. Maybe not. Death from Above, Pull Out, 679. Not sure I know that song by them, but they were another staple of Indie Nights for some of their songs, particularly Romantic Rights, from what I remember. Lure, California. Not sure I know that song. Absentee, again, that band are cropping up. Not sure about that. I'm gonna have to listen to these singles. Hey Sisters. That's fucking Tom Greatorex in it. I never knew he was on the cover of Hey Sisters. That's gotta be Tom. As if I never asked him about that. I asked Tom to review this for me as well, and he said I don't really know don't really know many albums from this year. It's on the cover of one of the singles. The crew spent a year in burning London, decided in a year. The crew spent a year in burning London, decided everybody was an idiot, returned to Wakefield vengeful and righteous, and distilled the whole experience into 2.5 minutes of pure spite. That's a great summary. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about Tom about that at some point. Tom from Blackwire, if I've not made that clear, is on the front of Hastings, just from what I can tell. Must have noticed that before. Oasis Lila, yeah, obviously a big song at the time. Who cares? Magic Numbers Forever Lost. Hard not to like it, and if it came on the radio now, you'd listen to it. I reckon. My Morning Jacket. Remember the band name? I'm not sure I know that song. Editor's Munich. Again, if it came on the radio, I'd listen to it. Uh, yeah. In fact, it's a good song. You'd have to say that. 22 grand job. Getting in there. With London collapsing into a husk of paranoia, this was the hedonistic clarion call that reminded us it was going to be all right, all right. Urban Breakdown had never sounded as brilliant as this. Apply some pressure, Maxima Park. Yeah, I mean, there's another song that became a bit overplayed at the time, but yeah, it's got a great chorus, obviously. Good song. Snow, excuse me, Snow White. Not sure I've ever heard of that. Bored and somewhat detached. The Rakes again in there. Rakes are cleaning up. Work, 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 pub, club, sleep. Brilliant song. After the weekend speed rush, the days of the midweek social churn, bleary eyed, but go on then, just a quick 10. The Rakes staggered out into a Wednesday dawn clutching their most sublime cut to their jewel stained chests. Brilliant. Probably read that quite badly, but it's a brilliant song. Bought that on 7 inch in recent years. Might be my favourite Rakes song, maybe. I'd say. Possibly. Bright Eyes, first in my life. We mentioned this before. Yeah, obviously a big song at the time. Oxygen by Willie Mason. Great song. Another Zane Lowe favourite on his radio show, I remember. That song and Live It Up were really good. I really, yeah, really appreciated him. Willie Mason back in the day. Wouldn't mind seeing him now. I know he's still playing gigs. Blue Orchid, big single. Became quite boring quite quickly though, didn't it, Blue Orchid? I feel like. But I wasn't really having that at the time. Danny B in the comments, the Rex, showing some love for the Rex. Big up. Right, down to top 20 singles. Amaray One Thing. I think I know that song. It's just one thing, etc. Good pop song. Or maybe that's doing it disjustice. Uh, R&B. The drum loop that wouldn't quit. Uh, yeah, okay. I don't know much about that, but I think I've heard of it. British Sea Power, Please Stand Up. Might have heard that song. Probably would recognize it if I heard it. Predict a Riot. Yeah, obviously. Does what it says on the tin. LCD Sound System. Yeah, it's probably my favorite LCD song. Um, Obviously a basic choice from me there, but whatever. Gorillas, there. It's an interesting single, interesting cover, isn't it? Yeah, obviously, great story about that single. This thing it's supposed to be, it's there, but uh, or maybe not. What is the story? I had Ian Brown talking about it. I think, yeah, it wasn't. It's there, wasn't supposed to be in there, was it? But I think Sean Ryder said it during recording or something, so they ended up being the whole song. Quite funny. Sebastian Tellier. Don't know much about him at all. I have to listen to that. Arcade Fire, Neighborhood 2. Yeah, great song, great album. Block Party Banquet. Yeah, banger. Uh, Staple of any indie night. And yeah, one you stay on the dance floor for 100%. Hard to beat. Another one that just like, yeah, good song. And I would listen to it on the radio now, but I don't know. Yeah, it's one. It became quite tiresome, I suppose. I definitely talking about Asper's again. For all the talk of Asbos, hoodies, and hidden cameras, the best moment on Hardfire State of the Nation concept piece told one of the oldest morals in the book that girls do your head in, but they're still worth having around in quite spectacular fashion. All right then. Arctic Monkeys' Fake Tales of San Francisco. Definitely one of the best demos at this point before the album came out. From the north, it came bearing George Formby accents declaring you're not from New York City, you're from Rotherham, or Rotherham, phonetic spelling. And guitar frippery designed to make our intestines prolapse. Lovely stuff. The rest, as they'll be saying, was history. Juice box, yeah. Yes, it was leaked ages ago before you could buy it. But by God, it showed that not only could they do the thin, wiry perfection, they could rock out and riff like AC/DC riding Weezer through the streets of New York as well. Clever bastards. Yeah, Juicebox was quite a case change, wasn't it? Pardon the pun on this single cover there. But yeah, air stuff. Franz Ferdinand, do you wanna? Can't say that would have kept me on the dance floor, that song. Um, Personally, but obviously a big song at the time. NME seem to absolutely love them. So fair enough. Raise like somewhere else. No chance of me dancing to that either. Maybe it's not all about dancing, though, is it? I hope there's someone because that's a great song. Barney and the Johnsons, Fuck Forever. After the year that he's had, the very fact that Peter is even making music at all is a miracle. That he's making music is like yearningly triumphant, self-referential, and brilliantly wry as this. Well, that's nothing short of a triumph. I mean, just a banging single of that era. It's probably a bit divisive. I don't know. But yeah, it's ace. I don't know if that's taken from the, is that taken from the album sessions? I always thought the best version of Fuck Forever was from a Zane Lowe session on the radio. But yeah, ace. Can't argue with that. Like, past top spots. Have a look at this. 89 Stone Roses. Grooves in the Heart, Higher Than the Sun. Um, any interesting ones? Last few years, yeah. Well, yeah, Can't Stand Me Now from the previous year. I'll have a look at that at some point. Top five, My Doorbell. I mean, yeah, I mean, enjoyed it at the time, but it's just it's a bit Radio 2, isn't it, My Doorbell? You'd have to say. Uh, oh, the one that sounded like a lost 60s soul song. Here, 3 quid. Here, 3 quid abandoned the guitar heroics in favour of a sprightly piano hook that drove some to dementia through Chris Moore's breakfast show type overhype exposure. Us, we can't get enough. Right, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can imagine being very Radio 1, Radio 2 friendly. Gold Digger. I mean, talked about this before. Uh, yeah, I got sick of that pretty quickly myself, but I think I actually listened to the original version actually for some reason, and it is interesting to listen to now. Like the lyrics and stuff. I think the remix was the one that did my head in, maybe. Uh, but they're good on the dance floor. The fact that that's not number one is interesting because it just was kind of the zeitgeist on it for NME, you'd have to say at that point, especially with it being pre-album. The tune that lit the touch paper and started the revolution, but changing the music industry's business model forever by hitting number one thanks to internet swapsies alone would have meant nothing if the tunes weren't so love at first listen irresistible. Dance Floor, not even their best song, cranks up like the heaviest metal, then lets fly on a tidal wave of white funk, punk aggression, and a nuclear spirit of cigarettes and alcohol, coursing heroically through its veins. Yeah, I mean, just a banger in it. Um, reading an article about the woman on the cover actually. It's quite interesting. Literally just yeah, very much a normal person that was pulled in to do that. Arcade Fire Rebellion Lies. Just a song. Aged really well as well. Very interesting band. Saw them a few times back in the day. Um, see what it says. As a group of seven Canadians that look and even occasionally sound like the string section of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra after a 3-day booze bender, Montreal's Arcade Fire are a distinctive presence in this list. Get past the mortician suits and graveyard pallors, though, and this was one of the most joyous sounds of the year. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Rough trade as well. Interesting. Yeah, Future Heads, Hounds of Love. Um, it wouldn't have been my number one, I don't think, of the year, if I'm being honest, but it wouldn't resent it being number one. Obviously, a huge song. Uh, but maybe another one that kind of got is very like it was very radio on friendly, wasn't it? Very. It would have been overplayed. It's hard to say it would have been. So as much as I appreciated it, I would have appreciated it at first. It might have come a bit. Don't know. Might have become a bit annoying at some point. But in hindsight, it's brilliant. It's one of those songs you listen to now and you can appreciate it again, I think. Um, but we'll read it anyway. In the same year that the grand old dame of Albion returned from her Lord Lucan like exile, Sunderland's finest released their bliss inducing take on one of their finest pop moments, with broad wayside chanting replacing what used to be the barking of hunt dogs. The lyrics about the fear of falling in love rose like a three-part harmonic voodoo from the post-punk guitar punch to produce the retro future dance floor wallop of the year. If anyone was in doubt that this was the Heads coming of age, they just had to catch the O2 NME Awards tour in 2005, which saw Ross and Barry splitting the crowd down the middle for a blitz call, for a blitz kick call and response during the addictive Oh, the tune of 1986 and the sound of 2005. And then just saying how good it is to be number one. So yeah, fair play to them. It's obviously a great cover, extremely well done, and a good idea. So respect. DVDs of the year. Are we going this deep? I don't know. Dig number one, definitely Ace. If you're not seen that, I'm sure most people watching this will have seen it. About Dandy Warhol's Brian Jonestown, Sex Pistols. That's an interesting video as well. I'm not sure I've seen that Bob Dylan one, but it's been recommended. Um, can't say I've read any of these books. I don't think. Rip it up and start again. Okay. Journalists. Okay, this is an interesting one. See if we can see any here that have been mentioned. So these are the tracks of the year that they've picked. So what Conor McNicholas saying, just about read that. White Rose Movement, Love is a Number. Yeah, I'm kind of saying about that. A song. It is a really good song. Maybe underappreciated from the time. Rich to the Rubble, Arctic Monkeys. Yeah, it's probably arguably the best early song in it by Monkeys, really. In terms of like longevity. I think that's one that you go back to. Block Party Remix. Okay. Very very edgy from Connor, but I'm sure it's S. The Streets remix, all right. Guys Chiefs Modern Way. Again, probably arguably the best song off that album. And 2 More Years by Block Party. That must have been pretty current at that point, the new single. Malik, Marie. See if you can spot any interesting. Damian Marley. I think that was in there, was it? Remember that song there? Queens of the Stone Age. Push the Button. Fair enough. The Go Team. Long Blondes. I actually don't know that song. Appropriation by any other name. Paul Stokes, friend of the pod. I think he questioned why that picture had been used. Number one. Oh my God, interesting. Strokes, Baby Shambles, Feel Music. Again, a long blonde song I'm not heard of. Autonomy Boy. I don't recognise that name. Golden Virgins from it's James McMahon, that one as well. Um, Fake Tales. Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt. Was that not in the singles? We Are Scientists. Is it just Great Escape in the top singles? Because that is a banger as well. Mark Bowman, of course, Hard to Beat's number one from him. Uh, White Stripes, Twisted Charm. Can't Fool Me, Dennis. I thought that had been in there, but Alex Needham picked that one. Um, Cribs, Hair Sisters. That was in there, wasn't it? Got to listen to Snow White. But yeah, few to me. What? A few for me to listen to there. Ones that I can't remember from back in the day. But anyway, that's it. That's been a fair while, hasn't it? So I'll get off now, but get in the comments about what you make of those lists. Any that you feel have been missed off unfairly. And yeah, we'll probably do a bit of a bigger deep dive on Patreon, hopefully with Rick Martin, one of the NME journalists,